We're going to go over one of the most important things when you're building something is you want to start with monetization in mind. What's the actual business model, which requires a little bit of business planning because essentially what you're doing is before you start building whatever you're building, you want to think with the end in mind that who's the main user that's going to be using the app or the software, and then how are you going to monetize it? For example, with the software, you could have a freemium model where some people come in for free and then they upgrade to a pro plan or an enterprise plan. You could have a free version that then has like unlimited like credits, for example, 11 Labs or an API. Or you could have a PaaS, a platform as a service, where there's essentially a benefit to two parties and you take a percentage of whatever their transaction is. In terms of the business model, what are you guys working on in terms of business model? As a reminder, this is how I approach things. Business model, landing page to actually sell it, dashboard or user, admin, whatever dashboard you need. Then hook up Supabase and OpenAI, and then hook up Stripe for payments. So this is like essentially the way that I approach it. Everyone can approach it in a slightly different way. It's up to you. But the first thing is business model because you don't really know what you want to build until you have your business model. Canine records management, rural pet owners and show breeders. Mitch, business that sends handwritten invitations to companies in hopes of sending them gifts. Jonathon, Lexi operates on a freemium model with strong upgrades incentives. Free tiers can identify legal issues. Lexi Legal is a full spectrum AI-powered legal assistant designed to help everyday people understand, assert, and act on their rights without needing a lawyer. Detects your jurisdiction, reads your situation, and instantly delivers accurate legal guidance and strategy. From scanning tickets and drafting court documents to citing real case law. Oh, interesting. Jonathan's going to win because he's seemingly has the most advanced understanding of what he's trying to build. Inbound and outbound calls to schedule leads. The contacts are saved in a CRM and contacted by voice and SMS. Ultimately leads to scheduled consultations. Need nurture campaigns for those who do. Micah, you're combining, it's basically an AI CRM. Is that what it is? Where leads will come in and then you have some kind of AI training, some kind of knowledge base with a goal in mind. And then it does SMS and email. And then whatever the goal is, it either accepts the goal or not. Webhooks to GHL. Why would people not use just the GHL features that already exist? Because they have AI agents now. Or why is it better than GHL? GHL is go high level, which is just like a CRM that has a lot of automations on the end. They have current connections to marketing agencies who do not want to be in the voice agents business. Let's look at Jonathan's. Oh, click the preview button and then share the preview button. There we go. Welcome to Lexi, your AI powered scan a ticket. Does none of this work yet? Respond to motion. Do you have a landing page? Voice agent. Voice agent, stop agent, listen, dashboard. Recent leads, call, calendar, active calls, voice agent, active. These are calling the leads, recent leads, calendar, campaigns. You're basically trying to build like a go high level. Interesting. Integrations, settings. Go here, go to wherever your thing is and click this little button in the left hand, click preview, and then copy this link. And why is it specifically dental? Social platform to trade about good deeds. This is interesting. What does this stand for? CWIN, the first social platform to track good deeds. This is pretty features based. Let me just go through these one by one. What does CWIN stand for? Connections with intent review. Market data for loan officers. Can I actually sign up for this? Or is this just dummy? Is this a big problem? That people don't know the treasury yield? And how do you monetize this? What am I paying for? What's the upsell path? I got a couple use cases. We'll go over these one by one. Let's do the dental first. Moika, you want to come on? One sec. I'll bring you up. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
How's it going?
I'm doing great. The Dental Verify Hub has a couple of features that I've been working in this industry for 37 years, and these are some of the things I feel are missing on other platforms. That's why I'm trying to build my own that I know I will have a huge return on. The patient search is pretty standard. The benefits verification is standard. We have to log into the dental insurance portals using the specific practices, user information, and pull down the data for their specific patients. We need a database that we can pull from their practice management software that lists all of the currently scheduled patients. Those are the ones we need to search for.
You're speaking in 37 years of experience language. Who's going to be using this on a day-to-day basis? Is it someone at the office?
I'm going to be focusing on billing companies, making this an app for billing companies, primarily my own, starting with. And if it gets really great, I have a DSO, which is a dental service organization. It has about 300 offices in it that is using my services now, but I've told them my goal is to automate. I need to automate that. And right now, to run that agency takes a lot of VAs. By automating it, one VA can handle 10 offices. It'll really cut my costs for business.
I'm going to walk us through my process. Their clients are dental offices that can't get paid, or they're trying to get paid by the insurance companies and the individuals, or walk me through the use case.
First of all, there's a huge employment crunch in the dental industry. Finding people who can work insurance and who are able to do the processes is really getting to be very difficult. Automation is coming. It's just since January, it's exploded. However, most of the software I feel like was thrown together without a lot of thought. I've tried 3 different platforms and I'm not impressed. And the reporting is really low quality. The searchability is low quality. Even timeliness to onboarding is a problem. The user interfaces are cumbersome and ugly. And if you have one VA who's handling 10 offices, they need to have information at their fingertips parsed by office. And then within that, you need to know which ones are in good shape, which ones are verified, which ones have problems with their demographic information, which ones may have problems with how many times they've used the service. You have limitations and frequency limitations in insurance. When you log into the insurance portal, it'll tell you based on the code whether or not the individual is eligible for that service based on certain criteria. Those criteria need to be parsed out in the software. You can see at a glance what's the reason the patient's not eligible. Because when a patient calls your office, they want to know, why didn't insurance pay? You don't really have an answer for them if you don't know this information.
Let's start with someone that goes to a dental office and I get teeth whitening plus XYZ service. I go in and I fill out some information about whether or not I have insurance. And then is this before I actually go to the dental office, or is this after I go to the dental office and then I'm trying to collect payment?
It depends on the workflow at the dental office. Ideally, they would send this information to the patients who would fill it out prior to their appointment so that when they come in, you can collect their patient portion prior to seating and beginning service. That model is difficult to come by unless you have really sharp employees, but that's the model every dental office would love to have, just an easy way to find out what their patients are covered for and what they're going to owe before they start work. That helps to eliminate billing. It's harder to collect from a patient afterwards than it is
Yeah.
before.
This would also be used by the actual dental offices, not just billing, or both.
What I would like to do is stick to billing company because then I can have one billing company, I'll hit 300 offices. If I have to go to individual offices, I could do it to both, yes. I think the dental office would need a lot more support. So my first thought was to go to the companies. If I can sell it directly to the office, I've got training worries, the issue. employee turnover, training the same office 6 times.
So you have these billing companies, and they have hundreds of clients, different offices.
Yes, it's just easier to scale.
So now we have the billing companies have a software that makes their life easier. The reason why I'm asking all these questions is because it's like I have to understand the architecture of the business model before I can make any suggestions. Right? So the billing companies have software that they use in order
Yes,
to help the offices collect money, essentially, correct?
correct.
And so there's some kind of two-way sync here. Someone comes to the office, and then how do they submit, and also what information are they submitting to the billing office? And then what are they asking for in return?
So when a patient schedules, they have to fill out at a minimum their name, address, date of birth, and their insurance information, which is the ID number and group number and the name of the insurance company.
So they do that, and now the office has that information. And now what do they?
Correct. And
They
so
send
once the
billing
patient,
company.
no, so once the patient's in the schedule, the office is going to attach procedure codes to that patient. So suppose they're getting a whitening, like you said, which is a non-covered service. So it's usually a made-up code. So let's just say D whitening. And then they're going to get a cleaning, which is D1110. Those two codes will be sent to the billing company, and the billing company will contact and say X-rays. Then the billing company will contact the insurance company, find out which of those services are. The first is the patient active on the insurance plan. So we need to know if they're active. Then we need to know which of the services that they're getting are covered by the plan. What percentage are they covered at? And are there any frequencies or limitations that would prevent them from getting the service the day they come in? Maybe they had a visit last week and yet the insurance only pays once a year. Then they couldn't get it even though it's a covered service.
Got it. So the billing company gets this input, okay? And or the office gets this input. They send it to the billing company. And what
Or
they
the
do,
billing company can download it from their software. We're going to be able to use API keys to access their scheduler and get all of the information from their software. And I'd like to verify 2 weeks out as well as same day. Just because sometimes you have walk-in patients.
so this is essentially the process that you're trying to solve, is making this faster. What does it currently look like?
It can be very fast, but it's not usually complete. Not one of the services I've looked at, and I've looked at 3 and experimented them with my office, and none of them do frequencies and limitations, which is the number one reason that patients are left with a bill after they file insurance is, oh, you went somewhere else, or maybe they only covered a service until age 12 and you're 35, these
Yeah.
kinds of things. And the software just doesn't return that information. Usually my BAs have to go in and manually then after the software does everything, they have to call the insurance company, get that information and add it to the database. If you have someone who's in the office handling patients and stuff, there's no way they have time to do that. Every insurance call is a minimum of 20 to 25 minutes.
So bad software feedback is incomplete.
Correct.
So therefore, you have to call manually, plus VA has to do a bunch of work to actually make it.
The data entry. So it has to write back into their software so you don't have to do manual data entry.
But I'm just trying to get a map. I always try to map it out. If it was a bunch of humans, what would they actually be doing? And then reverse engineer what the AI down people will do based on what the humans would have to do. So who has is this like a software that both the billing and the office has access to, or is this just a software for the billing company?
I was building it for the billing company because I think by scale I can get more business. However, it would be usable by the office if they had someone in there who wanted to train. But the software is owned, the practice management software is owned by the dentist. And there are many different ones out there. Some are server based, some are cloud based. In all cases, you need an API key to access that software and get the information to the dental billing agency. Otherwise, what we have are login codes and they create a user for us and we log in and do it manually.
So right now, just assume that your software doesn't exist. Right now, the billing company has a relationship and they connect essentially to their software through an
Yes.
API key or some login. Okay.
Right now, most billing companies do what I have been doing for the last years is that you are logged in as a user to the practice management software and you scrape the appointments every day. You download them as a CSV.
Hmm.
Then it's pain in the neck. Then you call the insurance company and manually enter all the data back into the computer after you have the verifications done.
So right now it's just like VAs just using whatever they can. They're downloading at a best case scenario, there's some kind of API or login, but most of the time it's scraping into a CSV. And then the VAs essentially have their jobs for the day, which is
Correct.
use my softwares plus the insurance to figure out whatever I can. But
Exactly.
the data that I'm getting is incomplete. So I can't really send the appropriate information back to the office.
So here's the magic of it. And
Mhm.
this is what I want to solve. One of the reasons that all of the automated billing companies have a problem is because they will give you what they call a basic eligibility. They'll tell you, is the patient active or not? And are they eligible for a cleaning and x-rays and an exam? Anything else you want to know, they charge you extra. I've seen people charge up to $8 for what they call a comprehensive verification of benefits.
Okay.
So most doctors won't pay that because they're paying $5 to $8 for a comprehensive service. They'll just do basic eligibility. So after the patient is seen and it turns out the insurance doesn't cover something, now they've got to go billing the patients, and it makes patients very upset.
All right. So we're going to start with the billing company. So walk me through like the absolute like first 5 to 10 features of it. So
So
I,
the
then
first
when I
thing
look at
would,
your dashboard, I'm going to understand it.
so they're going to want, yes, it's on my dashboard. They want to be able to communicate with the dental practice management software and with the insurance portals. They want to be able to, and when I say communicate, I mean get the data from one and upload it to the other. Then they want to be able to extract the necessary information to fill the fields of verification, which would be the procedure code, the date of service, any frequencies or limitations regarding that code, the amount that the insurance is going to pay, which means their allowable insurance amount, if it's a PPO, and then what the patient's responsibility would be after that. So if it's an allowable amount, if it's a PPO, we also need to be able to know the dentist network status. So that's how that has to be accounted for.
So there's probably going to be like an onboarding component to this. Okay. So let's say I just bought I'm ready. I'm a billing company and I get started. And I know that you're probably going to use yourself as a good use case. So that's great because worst case scenario, you've improved your product and you can become a better billing service. But you're right. This could be eventually an enterprise software that everyone uses. And then probably phase three is you go directly to the dental offices to make it easy for them that they don't even need the billing agency. Is that sort of fair in terms of like the
Correct.
three-step process?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
So here we are. And there's going to be, let's call it a VA that's going to be using this. But instead of them
Mhm.
doing one office, they can do 20 offices because everything's automated and all they're doing is watching essentially. And then any additional things that they need to update, they can. Is that fair?
Correct. Yes.
So the primary person that's going to be logged in is so they're logging in from their computer. They log in and they say, what am I going to do today? So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take all of the new appointments for all of my offices, and then I'm going to verify all this information, and then I'm going to spit it back into the office's information so that they have what they need. Is that fair?
Correct.
And how many are they going to have every day? So let's say
An
like
average office sees, if it's one doctor and two hygienists, they'll see anywhere from 30 to 40 patients. If it's, and it's about 30 per doctor. So if you have two doctors, you'll see about 60. If you're in a like a Medicaid office or something, one doctor will be seeing those 60 patients, unfortunately. And
so
I
let's
do
say
have some
30 to
offices like that.
so let's say 30 to 60 per office, and then you want one VA to have 10 offices or even more.
I think 10 is good. If it gets really good, we could reduce that, but I'm going to start
Okay. So
realistically.
let's say 600 per VA per day. All right, let's just call it that. So I log in And what do I push? Because at some point, I assume that I have an element where I'm choosing the office. And
Yes.
then once I'm in that office view, for other softwares, it might be like project view or whatever, version view or company view. But there's probably going to be the office because there's this concept of nesting where you
Okay.
have menus within menus, features within a larger feature. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
It feels like the top is going to be, I click on what office I want as my guess. Is that
Mhm.
how I imagined it?
I see two ways. One, it could be just, you open up your dashboard and there's a drop-down menu of the offices you're working in, or
Yeah.
it could be a graphical interface where it shows you there are X amount of, as soon as you open your dashboard, any office that has pending tasks is shown on that dashboard. You can click into the office from the task list.
Totally. I think we're saying the same thing, but now we're talking about the user interface. So let's say I'm choosing which office first.
Yes,
If the office is very cool and this dashboard that's alert, this office needs a lot of help or whatever, that's fine. However you want to make that is great. But nonetheless, the first thing that I'm clicking on is I'm clicking into an office. Is that fair?
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm clicking back into an office. And then there's going to be what, like a list of appointments probably, or a list of people, or like, how do you guys normally see it?
Normally, you'll see the patient ID number that's attached to the patient in the software. Because of
Okay.
HIPAA, you don't want to just keep sending patient names all over the place. And then from there, you'll also perhaps see the date of service and the provider's name,
And the provider
being the
is not the
doctor.
office, it's the doctor. So I'm going to use not industry vernacular for myself, just so I know. So, doctor.
And then you can see their status. Are they active with that insurance or not, if it's already been checked? Or really, you'll see, does it need to be checked? And if it has already been checked, you'll see the status.
But you need to see their insurance, I assume.
Not on
No.
that dashboard. You might
Okay.
see the name of the insurance company.
So name of insurance, and then you also have status. So let's say status is like green or red and
Right.
something or like whatever. So I have this. It's going to look better than what I'm doing right now, but you get the idea. There's going to be, is this kind of how you imagined it, where there's like a bunch of these?
Yes.
So I click on the office and then I see a bunch of these. Cool. And then there's going to be some of the statuses that need what? What are the options in terms of status?
They could be active and verified. They could be inactive. And they could be demographic information doesn't match. So mismatched demographics or missing information, I would say that would cover most everything.
Mismatch and missing information. Are those separate or are those the same thing?
It's separate.
So active verified, inactive meaning that like they haven't paid their bill or whatever and it's inactive.
Correct.
And then mismatch, we got to figure out there's some incorrect information that was input.
It's most commonly that they have two last names and the wrong last name is in there, or it could be date of birth. And
Okay.
sometimes it's address.
And then missing information is
It's all of the same. And it may be like the relationship, who's the subscriber, who's the patient, that kind of stuff.
and so let's say I click into, I have the status. Now I'm going to click into this individual person, I assume. So this is what I mean by nesting. It's like
Yes.
office, and then everything that's happening in that office, either for
Ah,
the day or that was scheduled that day. And
yes.
then once I go here, there's going to be like the actual user profile, I guess. Like this, you're not going to have a picture, but you get the idea. There's like a
The
profile,
patient.
patient info. So I click here, and then there's a bunch of things that more information that I can get, whether it's in a chart or whatever, it's like there's more information. And then I assume you then find the thing that's wrong.
Oh, one other thing, the gender has to be up there. The
Okay.
gender information under the active, inactive, mismatched information or missing information, the gender often is not in there.
So these will be put into their patient profile, and then there's going to be some kind of action button, I assume. But now what do you want to have happen? Like you want to click a button and then it upgrades it, calls the person, calls the insurance.
Oh,
Like,
it would be wonderful if they could call the person, but you'll never get in touch with them.
yeah.
So what we normally do is we send a message to the office telling them this is the information that we need, and we leave it up to them to contact the patient.
So this, in theory, is creating some kind of report,
Yes.
and this report is then whenever it's complete, the AI would probably create this
Hmm.
AI report, and then it
Yeah,
sends back a message
to
to
the office.
the office. And is this real time or is this like once a day or how often
We
is,
usually try and have all the verifications done at least 1 to 2 days prior to the appointment.
and are they done in bulk? Once a day you send whatever you guys have put in.
That's what we do now just because of the volume and we're having humans, but my anticipated goal is that we should be able to do 2 or 3 weeks worth of scheduled appointments, and then all we have to handle manually would be the walk-in patients on any given day.
But in terms of when, let me say it a different way. You are sending the information back to the the office. Is that like an email? Is that pushing back to their software? When you say send a message, what does that
Yeah,
actually
I'd like to send it via email,
send to the office via email? And probably a 2.0 version would be
a
like
dashboard for
yeah,
all.
connecting where that they can see it.
I'd love to have an office dashboard.
Yeah,
That was on my wish list.
I like it. And then got it. So message to the office via email for now, but then eventually a dashboard. Now, this information, I feel like the sweet spot here, or like the kind of magic trick, is that getting this information right now is manual. Is that essentially what the problem is?
Yes, and
Status.
yes, and another missing information would be the procedure code. Some offices don't put the procedure code on, so we don't know what to verify for.
So procedure code. And then what happens now? This looks like a CSV file, and then
Mhm.
you guys are essentially upgrading the CSV file in the form of
When
a
the CSV file comes, it just is going to have the ID or patient name and the date of service, the scheduled appointment date. That's it. It's not going to, it might have the name of the insurance, but it won't have the provider's name necessarily. Some software you can configure and some you can't, which is why the API key is best because we can go into that software and get what we need. I've had a couple of offices have custom reports made that we can just log in and download, and those are the best CSVs. And I think I might make that a protocol for all my offices to make sure I get the information I need.
you could make their life easier by like just connecting whatever field they collect and then
Hmm.
automatically connecting it to yours through an
Hmm.
API, very easy API. It's just like whatever field just connects to your field. But I'm still trying to understand this. So you get all this information in, and then what? Now I have all of this information. Some of it is, and now I have to decide. You hired me, and I'm your VA, and I have to decide whether someone's active, verified, inactive, there's some mismatch, missing information, gender, procedure. How do I do that right now if I'm a VA? How am I making that?
If the information comes across and we have all the information, we go ahead and we call the insurance company with the information that we have. If information is missing, then we're emailing back and forth to the office and hoping they respond to us. And also, there's the secondary insurance. All the same things required for the secondary insurance. So this is duplicating if they have two insurances.
Wow. So this is horribly inefficient. This is why people are so upset about healthcare. So yeah, I'm going to keep repeating it so I understand because we're trying to solve a decently complex problem. And when you're going to build a software, this is good for everyone. When you're building a
Yes.
software to solve a complex problem, you need to understand every micro step. So I've talked about this in my last couple lessons, which I said, if you can't articulate the 60 steps that you need to take, then you
Mhm.
can't make a software to automatically do those 60 steps because you don't know what those 60 steps are. If that makes sense. You can't just
Absolutely.
say, oh, social media platform for vegans. It's okay, but what actually happens when I log in and what are the features of it and what am I clicking? And if you don't have that, then it's hard to build. So I'm
Right.
just giving some context for everyone else. Like you got to have pattern recognition of learning the way that we're thinking about this, right? Is
Right.
you guys remember from my first lesson, it's just real quick. The first thing that I said was organize your brain. I said step one is organize your brain. So you got to know where you're going.
Let me
So,
just maybe download it and open it.
panelists.
So it's 100 and roughly 106 fields. A lot of that's taken up. So let's say 100 fields that we're getting.
For each person?
This practice information is generic, so this will always be attached to the patient. But from here on down, member ID, social, patient name, patient date of birth, subscriber date of birth, insurance, mailing address, group name, group number, phone number. COB is the coordination of benefits if they have two insurances, the effective date, the benefit year, how much they have, how much is remaining, deductibles, family information, the name of the fee schedule if they're a network, and that would be this is UCR MAC if they are in network or out of network, if copay is required at the time of service, what type of benefit year they're on, then the dates of service and the codes, the patient history. I forgot about that one, patient history. If they've had, these are the ones that go with the frequencies and limitations. If they've already had any of these things, then they're not eligible for them again. And then pre-authorization guidelines, if they have certain codes that have to be pre-authorized, most of that's surgical codes, preventative diagnostic, and basic percentages, how much percentage is covered. And that's for all of those different codes. And then specifically the scheduled codes that they're in. So this is what the ones that the other agencies charge a lot of extra for. This is what I was telling. Every agency is going to pretty much give you this stuff. Most people are going to charge you $8 to get this extra stuff, which is absolutely ridiculous if you ask me. But it's a good moneymaker and people do pay for it. So these are all the additional codes that a dentist, if he's going to do an implant, for instance, if you have periodontal disease, if you need a root canal, that should be covered. That's so basic.
Yeah, I think so, in theory. For every single person, this is filled out by a VA, this whole thing.
Correct. Yes. If they're scheduled appointments, we're filling out the entire thing to include what these are pretty much the restorative codes. And some of them also have to bill the medical first if it's surgical. But for the most part, all of these would be the most common scheduled procedures that a dentist uses. And these would be your basic procedures up here.
And so I get a bunch of information. I decide what's missing. If I need to get the information from the office, I email back and forth. Then once I get enough information, I call the insurance company to find out.
It's pretty much how it goes.
So I call the insurance company and then I just have a like I'm talking to a human and I just go through every single one of these things and just
Usually you're talking to a bot or you're getting a fax back. If they send you a fax back, then you're manually entering everything that comes through on that fax. If you're talking to a bot, we're filling out this form and then uploading it to the computer as a PDF so that they can see it at any time. And then we're manually filling it in for the appointment scheduled for that day.
so what's the alternative to calling? Is that problem solvable? Is there like an insurance company, click a button and it just checks it? Like,
You can log into, if you, most of the major insurance companies have, not mom and pop insurance companies, but all of the majors have portals that you can log into and get this information on their portal. But not every office is registered with those portals, unfortunately. If you're in network, you're usually registered with the portal. If you're not in network, you're not. So sometimes there's no alternative to the manual method unless you have an API key to access the portal data. Because they don't give every doctor a user name and password unless they're in network. If you're in network with, say, Blue Cross Blue Shield, then you get a user account and you can log in and do your verifications that way. But if you're not in network with them, then you have to call.
and is there any way you as a billing person to have like an API with them?
Yeah, I can get access to the insurance companies with an API key, or it's easier and cheaper for me if I can just use the user access. And most of the offices I work with are in network with most of the major billing ones because they're PPO offices. But I do have a couple of private fee-for-service practices. That's not the problem I'm trying to solve right now. I'm trying to solve the bulk of my problem, which is PPO practices.
And so in theory, you're trying to also solve the problem of the VA not having to call essentially.
Correct.
So when I log in, I see ID number, blah, blah, blah. In theory, I could click a button to verify all of this information and then
That's the
give me the answer, which is either missing information or whatever. And if it autofills essentially everything, and then you could either have a manual check, like final check, and then you click send, and then it sends it back to the office. Is that sort of like,
Except for one thing, the insurance company will not give you information at all if the demographics don't match. Date, name, date of birth, ID number, sometimes address, and the
yeah?
subscriber information, they have to be 100% correct, or the insurance company will not give you any info.
So just imagine, so I click a button, or it does it automatically. Let's say when I get the information from the office, you want it to just automatically try to get all of the information it can, and then
Yes,
automatically update the status.
Yes.
It could be missing information, it could be mismatch, it could be, hey, everything looks good, you're good, or it could be we have some of the data, we're missing whatever. And then the idea is that like 80% of it, 90% of it is done automatically through an API call that
Yes.
just automatically uploads it. And then there might be 10 or 20% that you have to call to verify something or whatever.
Correct.
Status will tell you like needs call or something.
Yes.
It tells
Yes.
you. So then the VA is really just observing and making sure that everything is not breaking. And then the 1 out of 10 that they have to call, they call and they figure that out. Is that fair?
Correct.
Interesting. It seems like you're solving a really big problem, but it doesn't seem like the tech is that difficult if you just have essentially you're doing like two calls. You're calling to the office, you're syncing with the office, and then
Mhm.
you're syncing with the insurance company relative to whatever that insurance company is. And it's just you get the information, that triggers a call, and then
Mhm.
that triggers essentially like a prompt that does an analysis that decides what's missing and updates the status. And then
Mhm.
if the status is one of the four good ones or whatever, it'll just send it back to the office.
Yes.
Interesting. Now I get it.
Oh,
So now I'm like, all right, let's see what to actually build. Hopefully you understand my reasoning.
no, I understand completely. I'm glad that was helpful.
So patient search, benefits verification. This is if you have an upload CSV and you're not API calling, essentially.
Correct.
You want that as an option. Batch verification. What is the difference between benefit verification and batch?
Some of them will have benefit verification. This will be the manual process where we're uploading the CSV, the batches, if we can pull a batch down from the software.
That one, that link is broke. It's okay. Let me see.
And it may be just the way this was done with famous AI. So if
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
things we can
It's not
combine,
fine. And so patient responsibility. What is this?
that's how much the patient is going to owe after the codes are verified. So this D1110 that's over on the right under treatment plan, this is
Yeah,
the cleaning code, and the
yeah,
fee is $120. It's
yeah.
preventative, so it's usually covered at 100%. So the
Okay.
patient's not going to owe anything. But if they haven't met their deductible, that wouldn't go for this code because deductibles don't. Oh, that's the other thing. We need to know which codes the deductibles apply to and don't apply to. But
Yeah,
normally they don't apply to cleanings.
yeah. Insurance portal. This is like you connecting to different insurance companies essentially.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is more of an admin thing, but okay. So I'm gonna make some suggestions real quick. What you have here, just like the big idea, I want you guys to think about this. So you remember you have landing page, and then you have the user experience, and then you have an admin panel. And my instinct is that some of these like integration or dental portals or insurance portals, like connecting those, that feels to me like an admin view. So your lead VA could maybe have that view. You could have that view, connecting the brains on the back end. And so
Right.
you want to have a view that's like the user, which is in this case a VA. A VA is coming, they come to work. And my instinct is that it should actually be nested rather than essentially the way that we did it live, but like this, yeah, like this. So they log in and they have, it looks like this is Office 1, whatever, Office 2, Office 3, or whatever. They click on Office 1, then it opens up all the information from Office 1. There may be just like the automatic stuff. And then there may
Mhm.
also be within here, upload a CSV if you want. And then it's per office. So you're gathering all of the data that you need for that office. Then you upload that office. And then I would have so this is, let me go back here. The verifications, the benefits, like all of that kind of stuff feels like it's more kind of happening on the brain behind.
Correct.
And
Yes.
then it's pulling in to what would be this view, and it's updating the status with whatever needs to get done. Then if something needs to get done, it will have whatever button that's necessary in order to do that. So if it's, let's say, for example, like missing information, reach out to the dental office. You could click a button and then it would like automatically pop up like a pre-populated thing and say, hey, we're missing that. They click yes and it sends the email.
Good. Yes.
Whereas if it's mismatch of something like that, there's something like wrong with the insurance or whatever, and
Mhm.
you need to verify something with the insurance company, it might click the button and then open up a little phone portal and you click the button and it calls.
Oh,
Does
that's
that make sense?
great.
'Cause I'm thinking
Yeah.
about it from the experience of the VA, trying to, because essentially their job is to like go through all of the 30 to 60 appointments for that office as quickly as possible. And the goal would be that if all of the magic is happening behind the scenes, 40 out of the 60 is like they're ready to go, click button, send all of that information back to the office. And they have all of those extra things that the other guys are like overcharging for and blah, blah, blah,
Right.
all happening automatically behind the scenes. So let's say I click on the office, 40 out of the 60 are just like, yep, good. Like everything said that it was good, cool. And then I'm like, I'm missing some information on these five. Click, email automatically pops up, click, sends to email, wait for, and then you could also have like a status thing here where, hey, you got an email back from Joe Schmo Florida office and they said that this is the updated information. And then you
Right.
click a button, it would like automatically update that patient's information or something. And then let's say hopefully only 5 or 10 of them require a phone call because you already everything. And then so instead of doing 60 per day phone calls, you might be doing like five. And instead of manually inputting all of this information into a Excel, it's automatically updating everything behind the scenes. And so now this is where you can get the idea of instead of manually inputting and manually calling, that's how you could 10x the output of a VA. Is that fair?
Exactly. Yes, you got it.
All right. So I think that this is how it should be. This is how it should be nested. So I think it should be, I'm just going to start this over. So you can have different settings over here or whatever, but I don't think that there are going to be very many, to be honest. I think that you'll have office view that will go into patient view with a list. And then each patient will have probably a clickable profile button and then also a clickable status button. So
Yes.
this is going to look like, hey, if I want to change some information manually on the patient, I click here and it opens up the client information. Or
Okay.
to do something, it will open up whatever the thing is to do, which is either verify email,
Mhm.
call, or email, but tell them, hey, this is the information that we're missing, essentially. It's
Mhm.
either need to call the insurance company or need to communicate with the office. That's essentially the three options.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
And so it will tell you the status there. You click a button and it'll make it essentially like 1 or 2 click automation where you're sending that information and receiving it back. Okay.
Correct.
And then this to me feels like 90% of the use case. And then now you have, but then you're asking the question, how do you connect the APIs? But that to me is an admin panel behind the
Okay.
scenes where you can also tweak the brain. You can say, oh no, I actually want to reorganize the CSV file in this way. And so this is a place behind the scenes where you can change the logins, the connections, and the brain and the prompts, essentially. And I think my instinct is that you're mixing them here.
I think you're right.
Reports is cool. There could be, but also even reports, I was thinking about it. You could have in the office settings, like for this office, there could be like reports
Of
up here
reports.
that is for monthly reports or a billing for that office or like that kind of thing. So there's like for each office, there's some larger things.
Yes.
But really, what you're talking about is like the daily activity is like in this section.
Yes.
So I think that's the big problem. I think the API calls are probably not that complicated. It's just matching the right information. But I think organizing it in the right way, thinking with the user in mind, which the user in this case is your VA.
Yes.
So hopefully that was helpful. I know we didn't even get to building, but again, I could get in here and start building it, but it's you have to know what you're building in order for it to function well. So that was why I took so much.
I appreciate that. This is really helpful because as you can see, my dashboard was way cluttered with everything jumbled
Yeah,
together.
exactly. Now you're thinking like, hey, what do I need? It makes total sense how you were thinking. You're like, let me make sure I have all of the things that I need. But the differentiation between the user and the admin, and then also this concept of nesting is very important. So for
Yes.
you experience this in apps. So think about it this way. It's like you open up Netflix. So you open up Netflix and they say, oh, here's the new releases, and then you click like documentaries, and then you click like documentaries that are foreign. So this is nest, it's like all movies, and then it's documentaries within movies, and then there's foreign documentaries that are sports related with it. So there's this nesting procedure. And so that is very important whenever you guys are building software or apps. It's what are the big page views, and then what are the menus within those page views? And then what is the user experience that I'm going to be using? Essentially, all day, every day. And who is that user? And what do
Yeah,
you want them to see when they're doing it? You don't want them to see API and insurance. I just want a task. I want a list and I click yes, no, call, yes, email, click, no. And if I can do that really quickly, all of a sudden you're crushing.
and the more I can simplify that, the more offices they can handle.
Exactly. And so
Right.
then you could either scale with the same operations team, or you can lower your prices and undercut all of your competitors because now you have a more efficient system. And so
That's the
you can,
plan.
yeah, exactly. So you can say, oh, it's interesting. Actually, let me show you how fast we are and how much better we are and how much better our reporting is, and we're cheaper. And
Mhm.
so then everyone's, oh my God, this is amazing. So then you can scale and you have higher margins as a business owner. And so
Exactly.
and then eventually, if the next level is you might want to create an actual like B2B software where you don't even have to do any services and
Mhm.
you provide the software for other people and you're just
Right.
taking a small cut of everything.
Exactly.
That's
That's my plan. That's my long range.
that's the real freedom. Cool. Now it's okay. Now I know what I'm building. You know what I mean? That's the important thing. So the lesson of today, because I know we went really extreme with Monica, but the lesson just for everyone is that the structure, the architecture of what you're building and thinking, this only took us maybe 30 minutes or something, but that 30 minutes can avoid 50 hours of pain in the future by sprinting in the wrong direction or building the wrong thing.
Yes.
It's the benefit of being an architect. It's like you want to make sure the architecture of what you're building is correct before you start building. So that's a lesson for you guys to think about. Nesting, what's the user experience, what's the admin panel, um, and then it's much easier to build. We'll do this every single Tuesday. You guys email me if you guys want, and I'll choose you to do a deep dive next week. And I also do calls on Saturdays as well that are more advanced training.
Got it. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys. Cheers. Have a good day.
Bye.